What's up, brothers? This is OuweSok and another Battle Brothers video. We are currently day 159 in this campaign. We are standing in front of Black Monolith. It is the last legendary location for me to defeat, and it will end my campaign. Now, this might not sound very special, but let's have a look. We have, during this campaign, visited 0 settlements. We have entirely lived off the land. We have butchered caravans and peasants and citizens to maintain ourselves. And yeah, but we've managed to survive, and we are now day 158, 159, and ready to enter Black Monolith. So I've spoken about this challenge already in a video about 9 months ago, but I've learned a lot more, and I want to dedicate a video to this and give, let's say, a complete primer on how to do this challenge and enjoy yourself. Because frankly, that's what the game is all about. So in my first video, I recommended to do this challenge with Peasant Militia Origin, and I have to come back on that. It has been done, and you can do it, and it is possible, but I didn't find it very enjoyable. The problem with Peasant Militia is that you don't have any reliable way to recruit new brothers. You are depending on very rare events, and that means that you have to be very, very protective of your starting brothers, as bad as they might be. Each and every one of them is more important than any kind of loot you can get in any kind of fight. So you have to play very conservatively, and you have to avoid fights with that would have been good loot, but would have been slightly risky. If you take risky fights in Peasant Militia, at some point you're going to lose a bro. That's just the law of statistics. So the correct origin to play this challenge is Manhunters, actually. Manhunters fixes your principal problem, your recruitment problem. Every time you beat at least 3 humans, it can be 3 lowly peasants, can be enough to get a new Indebted to your team. That hopefully can be good. And with this continuous stream of Indebted that you get to add to your team, you can actually play Battle Brothers as it is supposed to be. You take risks, you lose men, you gain loot and for your fallen men, and you continue, and you get new men. So that makes really a big change, big advantage over Peasant Militia. Another advantage of Manhunters is your team is dirt cheap. I'm paying 113 crowns per day on day 159. Like a single sellsword will request more money than that, but I have an entire team of 17 brothers for this money. And because you live off the land, you are beating up a lot of caravans, you're beating up on peasants, you're beating up on citizens. That also fits quite nicely with Manhunters, because it will give you a steady stream of Indebted to add to your team. Next is the Seed. You might think that because you cannot enter settlements, that settlement configuration is a non-issue, is irrelevant. That's wrong. What you want, and as many of you as you can get, are workshops. You want workshops, as many workshops as you can get in your map. So there's workshop here, there's workshops there, workshops everywhere, workshops, because settlements with workshops produce caravans with stacks of tools. And as you are probably aware, if you cannot buy tools and this challenge, you are going to be managing tools a lot. And being able to catch 1 or 2 or even sometimes 3 stacks of tools in a caravan makes a huge difference on your campaign, on your tool management. Really, if you find 60 tools in a single caravan, it's time to pop the champagne. So yeah, the Seed matters. You want workshops, you want to a lesser degree arrow maker sheds, so that you can find caravans with ammunition. You want food, of course, and what you don't want in your settlement attachments are trade goods. So that's how you can select select your seed, other than, of course, the quality of your starting bros. So let's have a quick look at my bros. So I've put them in order of recruiting them. So these are my two starting manhunters. One is the banner. I build him like this. One thing that you will notice that he does not have rally the troops. Rally the troops is kind of useless in this challenge. If a brother dips below steady, you just whip him. So I've taken another perk instead of rally the troops, and I've never actually missed this perk at all. I think Colossus and 9 lives and dodge is a little bit overkill, so if I would have to redo them again, I would probably replace 9 lives with anticipation. Everybody likes, all the enemy ranged units like to take shots at my banner, and anticipation will save you some amount of tools during the game. So that's, I think, a decent replacement, a decent option for your perks. The second manhunter actually has anticipation. Relentless, that's I think I explained that in the first video. I take relentless on both my overseers, as I would call them, the non-indebted, that are just there for the whipping, and you want to make sure that you go before you're indebted, so that you can whip them before they have their turn. I give him Fortified Mind because he cannot be rallied, so make sure that he has a good resolve, which also gets him to confident easier, so that's all very useful. And he just basically sits in the back line, usually with a whip, and is cracking the whip twice per turn. And that's it. My banner made level 11 at day 96, this guy at the day 112, a little later. Then comes the Indebted. This guy has been with me for 158 days, and he became level 7 at day 33. This 106% is kind of a simple evaluation of the melee skills. I have set like a simple formula that if you're 70-20, then you're 50%. If you're 75-25, you're 100%. And so this indicates a little bit about the melee skills of a brother. So 106%, 78%, 108, 84, 64. This is my best one, 112. 81 and 81-23 brother. So that gives me a quick glance. I can see how important the brother is to my team, and if I can put him in more or less risky positions. So this is a Mace Duelist, an Axeman. I am starting to give my brothers brawny, so like this guy has brawny, and they can, he has enough fatigue to wield a mansplitter. 30 is just enough. If you're standing in front of an enemy, you gain 15 fatigue, and you spend 15 fatigue, and you do more damage with a mansplitter than you do with a rusty axe or a great axe. A thrower. There's really no place for 9 lives in the thrower. If you want to have things like Pathfinder, Quick Hands, these are all, let's say, mandatory perks. You could replace Pathfinder with 9 lives, but since he's a backliner, 9 lives is not that critical. You can just keep him safe with just Nimble, he'll be okay. For all your frontliners, take 9 lives. Even in the late game, when you can protect your brothers and get them to level 7 without getting them killed, you really want 9 lives for battles like Kraken, for battles like the IG Rock, where you can just lose a brother because of a very hard hitting enemy. This guy is a battle tank. I wasn't supposed to make this guy, but my actual tank got killed, so I transformed him into a tank. I gave him rotate to be able to get a brother out of trouble. Not very useful for an endgame bro. I use rotate a lot on fodder bros, on bros that I know are not going to make it to the endgame, so that they can switch out with a more valuable brother if he gets into trouble. But for endgame brothers, I think rotate is just too fatigue intensive to reliably use. A flail guy, because he is nimble, he can support the berserk chain. Cleaver bro, an X guy, another X guy, and my most important acquisition came on day 71, a barbarian that joined me. That makes a lot of difference to your team, because with 2 overseers and 14 indebted, you can whip 8 indebted out of 14 into shape, because you can whip twice per turn, and every whip is worth 2 turns. So that's one overseer can keep 4 indebted in shape. So to have a team of 16, you really want your 3rd overseer, and he joined at day 71, and he made level 11 at day 139. Hugger, so yeah, when he arrived, we really hugged him, and out of respect for his traditions, we have clad him in his own gear. A maceman is not a great weapon. You really want to find a 2-handed mace, but these are really tough to find. You need to find a Hedge Knight or a Famed One or a Nomad Executioner. But I want to have the ability to 2-turn stun a unit, an enemy unit sometimes. For example, fallen heroes that are possessed, and 2-turn stun is really, really useful. Another X-Bro, the Diviner Flail, and my last acquisition, who made level 7 in about 2 weeks. So 2 weeks is enough to bring an Indebted to level 7 if you have a fully equipped team. I had to build this guy because I lost 2 men in the Kraken, 2 men in the Witch Hut, and I lost also 2 men in the Goblin City. So I was down to 15, so I had to wait a couple of weeks to get back to strength. So that's my team. Spoiler alert, it was not good enough. I lost the Black Monolith, and I think the big problem I had here, I don't have enough Battleforged brothers. Battleforged is just much more sturdy. Nimble doesn't work really well with only, let's say where you are, 53, 50, 57, 57. So all your men have like 50 high, 60 low hit points, and Nimble just doesn't really work with this amount of hit points. You're much better off finding Battleforged gear and building Battleforged brothers. But in this campaign I wasn't very lucky acquiring Battleforged gear, so I didn't have that much. I think I have, let's say, 1 more here. It's not great, but it's doable. But yeah, they got strapped to pieces by pikes, etc. So not successful. That ended my campaign. I tried it twice, but I got handed my ass twice in the Black Monolith. So that's a pity, but that doesn't impact what I've learned in the campaign and on this video. Next is ambitions. So there's a lot of ambitions that you cannot do in the No Settlements challenge, and that means that you have to be much more protective of the ones that you can do. So you have to make sure that you actually get them done. So for example, do not bust a camp before you have the ambition. Do not increase your team to 12 men permanently if you didn't get this ambition. Don't have 6 armor attachments attached to your armors before having the ambitions. Don't hire a retinue member before having the ambition. Because you want to make sure that you extract the most out of existing ambitions, because you really want your renown to increase as fast as possible. You want to get to 250 for the first follower, to 750 for the second, 1400 for the third, and to 2250 for the fourth follower as soon as possible. And ambitions are just the quickest way to improve your renown. Because at the end, your retinue followers are going to be very important in this challenge. And my recommendation is that the absolute first retinue follower that you're going to get is the what's it called? I don't remember the name anymore. The cartographer. Yeah, the cartographer is your first follower, and you hire him, of course, when you have the ambition active, so that you get the 100 points renown as well as this very valuable follower. So when you have the cartographer, you can make a lot of money by going into the wilds and discovering locations and legendary locations. The next follower you want to get is the scout. So in the early game, you should really look out for doable beast fights, because you want to get the 5 beast fights done to be able to unlock the scout. If things go perfectly, you will have the scout more or less also when you can get your second follower, so then you can go with the cartographer and the scout at a good moment in time when you have stocked up on food, or maybe when you have injuries to heal, and explore the wilds. You want to find the stone pillars to start the Kraken quest. You want to find the Goblin City to start the Goblin City quest. You want to find the Unhold Graveyard to pick up the first Unhold hide. And you want to find as many faraway locations as possible, and the cartographer will net you like 15,000 crowns easily while doing that. And then at some point the cartographer has done its job. You will have no money issues for the rest of the game, and you are going to replace him with what I think is the second best follower after the scout, is the cook. The cook solves a lot of your food problems, because you will have a lot of food when you go into the wilds, and a lot of it will actually expire before it's been consumed by your people. So the food, the cook will avoid this. Specifically, strange meat. Your men don't eat strange meat unless there's nothing else. So that means that strange meat sometimes is dead meat, really. Doesn't do anything. So the cook really helps at the moment that you are out of normal food, that you have enough strange meat to keep on going. And at the end of the day, going without food 1 day or 2 days, or sometimes even 3 days in a row, isn't the end of the world. Your Indebted can go to angry as much as they want. They cannot leave. You just have to make sure that your 3 or 4 or 2, 3, 4 overseers are not getting angry and leave. So for example, if you go into a third-party fight where you attack the camp with some noble army that's going to weaken the camp, and you know that you're going to flee, then don't put in your overseers so they don't get the morale hit when fleeing. You keep your overseers in good morale, and they will also be joining every fight, literally. So they will usually be in the best mood of your entire team. So Scout and the Cook are very, very important, I think, for this game. The Brigand is quite amazing if you have a lot of workshops. So if you just take a random seed and you don't have a lot of workshops, then he's not that great. But if you have a lot of workshops, like I have in this map, then he can actually make the scavenger unnecessary, because you will find a lot of caravans very quickly, and you will find tools in that way, and you can stock up on tools sometimes really quickly, stock up on food really quickly, because you know exactly where all the caravans are. So if you come back from the wilds, you spend a couple of days caravan hunting to go back and hunt camps and try and bust camps and find new loot or named items. So the Brigand is proportionally more useful with the amount of workshop that you have in your seat. Scavenger is obviously great for recovering tools. In this particular challenge, you will live off axes and flails because two-handed maces and two-handed hammers are really tough to find. But axes work really well. Two-handed axes work really well with the scavenger because you are with two-handed axes you are often able to destroy both the head and the body armor of the enemy and get more tools out of your enemies. Other useful retinue followers are the bounty hunter. He's kind of a luxury that you cannot afford. He's cute. You find more famed items. He can be very important if you find like a two-handed mace that's famed, or some nice battle-forged armor from a champion. But he doesn't really make your campaign click. These followers make your campaign click. Another one that also is pretty good is the lookout, so that you can, when you go into the wilds, you find more camps. And there's a lot of followers that you cannot unlock because you cannot enter settlements. So this is what I currently have, but yeah, you can replace the brigand with the lookout or the bounty hunter as to your own taste. As I said, tools management is very important, and because of this, you should consider all your nimble armors, all your brigand wear as consumables. They get damaged, you throw them away and you replace them with another one. So you never stop puncturing for armor, because you want to repair as few as you can and try and just replace damaged armor, throw it away and replace it with a fresh new armor that you punctured from a brigand or from a Wiedergänger or from a fallen hero. Sometimes you can just replace your very cool famed Battleforged armor with stuff like this in relatively easy fights, and you will have no problem surviving. And your Battleforged armors don't get hurt, and if these get too low, then you just throw them away again. So that's one tip. So at some point, even when you brothers get nimble, you can glut them in like 70% or 80% gear, and then when it gets hits and it drops to 40%, you can just throw it away. You don't have to worry about it. If it's 100% and it gets down to 60, then you that's kind of a waste to throw it away. So sometimes it's better just to use nimble to absorb a couple of more hit points, and don't repair your armor and save on tools. I have a couple of famed nimble armors, so this one. Usually I don't use them. It's a tools trap. I prefer to have just brigand wear, throw it away, and I don't have to repair it. So I only pull out these shiny nimble armors if I have to do a really tough fight, and I want to make sure that I protect my brothers as well as I can. Tools management also, what I would recommend and what I do is before a fight I switch out gear, and directly after a fight I switch out gear. I usually have a travel set, so I have a 100% undamaged set of armor and shields and weapons to travel with, so that I don't get ambushed without weapons. But when I have to do a fight, then I have actually my fighting gear. I switch that in, and your fighting gear is usually your best gear, and it has to be repaired to just be enough for your next fight. Not more, not less. Next, so ambitions we discussed, tools management, food management. Let's look at enemies. So brigands are one of your favorite enemies because you want to be able to puncture them, and if you have 10 or 12 or 15 or 20 of their armors here, no worries, you're going to spend them. at the moment you fight like orcs or goblins or ancient undead, your nimble armors are going to disappear very quickly, and you will be happy if you have a good set before you go into the wilds. Nomads I like a little less because they are not so easy to puncture, but also they give you Indebted. Beasts you try to avoid at all because you can do absolutely nothing with beast trophies. You cannot craft any items, so you only take beast fights to unlock the scout and to get the ambition done, and in extreme cases for the food or just for the experience. If you take on you can take on an easy fight just to gain some experience, but usually beasts are a big no-no. Brigands, and I already said, Wiedergängers, armored Wiedergängers are also a big friend of mine. At the moment I fight zombies. I scan for armored Wiedergängers with an intact armor, and I try to pin them down with tanks and puncture them at the end of the fight. The same with fallen heroes. Fallen heroes with these 240 or 260 armors. They are very heavy, but they are useful. You can use them a couple of fights and then throw them away when they drop below like 180 durability or something. All of these things save you tools. Orcs, I avoid the foul camps because they are just a little bit too tough. But the medium camps are actually quite great. So let's see, which are they? Where I have found one of them. This one. These are great because they usually have like 4 or 5 heavily armored warriors and sometimes the warlord, and you can keep them in check with a couple of whips and smash them with your axes and get some tools out of them. In foul camps there are just really too many orc warriors, and these are tough fights that I try to avoid. It's not really necessary to be a hero and beat up on big orc camps, but these are tool generators. Goblins are tools negative, but by a very big amount. So these are terrible for your tool management. So you usually try to avoid goblin fights, and you use them for the goblin trophy and to farm nets. That's what you fight goblins for. So little camps like these, if you find them, you engage in a long range war with your warbows, and you try to pick off all the skirmishers that have nets, because nets are very useful when you're fighting, for example, barbarian chosen. A chosen that is netted is easier to kill, has a reduced initiative, and also very important, you cannot do rotation tricks, so that avoids 3 or 4 chosen centering on a single one of your brothers and killing him in 2 or 3 blows. So nets are very useful against chosen, and you pick them from goblins. One word about goblins: you should have a lot of respect for goblins with the dagger, with the goblin dagger, the notched blade. With your battle forged brothers specifically that are not nimble, that have only a limited amount of melee defense, a puncture is devastating for 57 hit points brother that isn't nimble. I have seen a brother go down with 3 punctures, 2 punctures to trigger 9 lives, and the 3rd puncture to kill. So where is he? Stabbed by Goblin Ambusher, level 5 bro that was actually shield walling, got hit in 2 turns 3 times by Goblin Ambusher. So that was that's something you really should look out for. Don't put your battle force brothers next to an ambusher or next to a skirmisher with a notched blade. So you can see here in my death in the obituary that is being able to attack mercenaries very early in the game, being able to attack supply caravans very early in the game really helps your loot, and that's just yeah, what this origin helps you to do. So that's goblins. If you put your man next to a goblin with a notched blade, you are going to be sorry. I can be assured. You can be assured of that. So ancient undead are okay enemies. Usually you lose a couple of nimble armors, but you get a decent amount of tools back. So that's one-for-one trade more or less. And yeah, as I said, barbs. You really want to fight barbarians because you want to have the barbarian gear. You want to have the heavy fighting, heavy throwing gear, and you want to have some heavy rusty axes. I think I only have one actually in this campaign. So where is it? See it? Ah, there. Actually, I have only one. I have been very poor at fighting, finding doable chosen fights. But yeah, you really want the rusty axe. It's better than the great axe, but if you can equip a guy with a man's splitter, that's even better, of course. So that's enemies. Brigands are popular. Armored Wiedergangers are fallen heroes to pick up armors, and barbs to get your gear, and goblins for nets, and orcs for tools. That's the orcs for an orc. Berserkers, of course, for your two-handers. Let's have a look at legendary locations. So the first legendary location you're going to take on is the Icy Cave. And as you see, actually I don't have a single brother that can take on the Barbarian Madman in a fair fight. So you have to do the cheese method. That is explained in another video by some other guy that I used in this campaign to beat the Icy Cave. And this is done by, who was it? I think it was this guy. Yeah, he beat the. You can see it. He was on hold. No. Okay, so what you need to beat the Icy Cave is a brother with Pathfinder and Quick Hands. That's all you need. A level 3 brother, if you're patient enough, a level 3 brother will be able to beat the Icy Cave, the Barbarian Madman. What you need to do is equip him with something like this. Two Jagged Pikes, one melee weapon, and get his initiative as low as you can. As low as you can. So this is better than this, and you can use, like, say, where is he? Where did I get him? There. 23. Just make sure that you have enough fatigue to be able to move and hit. You need, I think, like, attacking with the Goblin Pike is 12 fatigue, so you need like you need to move 2 in snow, so that's like you need like 20 fatigue. 20 fatigue should be enough. So 16 is on the low side, and have as low initiative as possible, because the Barbarian Madman has initiative of 37 or more, depends on his weapon, and he needs to move first. That's critical. He needs to move first. So pick up a heavy armor from a fallen hero and go in with heavy stud, with a heavy shit, but enough fatigue to be able to move through to and hit with a pike, but as low as possible. In this campaign, the strategy is you start with your melee weapon. The caveman moves first. He will move to distance 2. And what you then do at the end of the turn is you switch to the pike, and move 4 away. The next turn, the Barbarian Madman, if he waits, by the way, you wait as well, because otherwise his initiative might become lower than yours. So it's rule number 1. If the Iceman, if the Barb Madman waits, you wait as well. He will move to distance 2 again, and then you attack him, move 2 away, and very important, switch back to your melee weapon. Can be this as well, I mean, doesn't matter. Any melee weapon will do. Because now in the next turn, the Madman will move first, but because you are at distance 3, he can move adjacent to you, but not attack. And because you have a melee weapon, his AI refuses to do this. So he's gonna wait, you're gonna wait, and then he's going to move at distance 2 and end his turn. And then you start again. Then you cycle again. You switch to the pike, move away 4, and this you rinse and repeat. And the Madman just won't learn, and he will not engage you as long as you remain at least distance 3 with a melee weapon, or at distance 5 with your reach weapon. If you have a reach weapon and he can get adjacent to you, he will. So that will be the end of you. So that's what you do, and you have to run over the map, and sometimes when you reach the edge of the map, you use your melee weapon to walk around him, and then you can go back across the map again. Make sure that you don't get trapped in the corner, and you cannot get out, and you cannot get at a distance 4 of him, because if you are at distance 3, he can move 2 and attack, and that will get your brother killed, because it's probably some low life Indebted, and the Barbarian Madman will have no issues dispatching of your brother at the moment they are engaged in combat. So this is the cheese method, and in this campaign it actually failed, because what happened, I attacked with my Jagged Pike, and the stupid Barbarian Madman got punctured leg muscles and lost 30% initiative. So now suddenly I was moving first, and I had no choice but to engage. My first hit missed, and I got cooked, so I lost a man. So I actually had this guy recovering from the same injury, so from pierced leg muscles. He had also the 30% initiative penalty. So I gave him quick hands and sent him in, and this time it worked. So that has taught me that the cheese method works properly, but it's best that you go in with a man that also has an initiative killing injury, like pierced leg muscles or cut leg muscles. I think cut leg muscles is like 40% to initiative. So that's the safe bet, and the amount of life they have doesn't matter, because if you play this properly, if you time it properly, you don't make any mechanical mistakes, you will beat the caveman without a single scratch. Okay, that was a lot about the Icy Cave. The next legendary locations are the Abandoned Village. I usually take that one on. At the moment I have the Goblin quest, because I kind of hate warbows, even with the what's it called, Bloodletter's Reach. I still don't like warbows very much, but against goblins they are quite good, and hitting a skirmisher with this arrow is probably going to kill him over the next 2 turns. Nothing special about this fight, it's fairly easy. The IG Rock you can take on pretty easily. Also at the moment you have all your bros at Nimble and at level 7 and Battleforged or Nimble. I wouldn't do that with level 6 bros, because they'll get killed pretty easily and pretty quickly by the IG Rock. The Witch Hut is also quite doable. How I approach the Witch Hut is heater shields for everybody except for your ranged units and for your banner, and maybe one guy one mace guy goes in with a pole mace and with the undead trophy, so that he cannot be charmed or very low possibility. Because I like to have the mace pole mace so I can stun hexes. But if you have the rest of your brothers all in heater shields and with one-handed weapons, any brother that gets converted will have problems hitting your men, because usually they will not be whipped, so they have 20 less melee attack, so they're not as dangerous. And the moment a brother is whipped and is more dangerous, he also has plus 20 resolve, which means he's not easily converted. So it kind of makes this fight easier, not only because you have 16 men, but also because the men that are converted are probably going to be 20 melee attack less than the brothers that are still fighting for you. I actually lost 2 men. I learned another thing. Don't go in with a shield bro with a one-handed flail like this. Go in with an arming sword. Flails have no use, have no value against beasts, but they killed one of my brothers. I actually had a deserter as well that I got 2 weeks after Hugger. So I had, at some point, I had 4 overseers in my team, which was okay, not impressive, not much better than 3. Actually, that means that sometimes my overseers had to do something else than whipping, so usually they were then disarming. So they all have Cleaver Mastery, the 2 ones that are on the banner, so that they can do some whipping, some disarming, which is very, very, very valuable against orc warriors and orcs in general. So yeah, that's how I would build overseers always, with Cleaver Mastery and the whip, and things like Backstabber will help you increase your ability to disarm, which is also useful against, for example, fallen heroes with 2-handers. So the witch hut is relatively doable, and I gave it to the same guy. Where is he? This guy, so that he can use quick hands if I'm fighting some human faction. I can quick hands to this weapon and hopefully finish off an enemy and have him resurrected as use him as a lightning rod for the enemy. So that's a useful item. The artifact reliquary also you can do whenever you feel you're ready. Potentially you will lose bros in there, that's fine. I think especially Nimble bros, they don't fare very well against in this legendary location. But this weapon is just really too good to ignore. So after these 5 legendary locations, the next one you really want to get is the Kraken. And the Kraken is the reason that all of your melee brothers are going to have Pathfinder and 9 lives. These tentacles hit really hard. Sometimes even a single hit can immediately trigger 9 lives. So in this fight it is crucial your strategy. You cannot do the push strategy with this, because you cannot build a tank that's good enough to withstand the tentacles for long enough for 4 or 5 naked bros to finish off the Kraken. So the push strategy is out of the question. So you have to go in with 16 men, and one of them gets the Goblin trophy, and he's going to beat up on the Kraken. You really have to do that because you want to shorten the period that the tentacles are aggressive as much as possible, because they hit so hard. It's very easy to kill your bros. I lost 2 bros in this fight. I lost my two backliners, which was a waste. So 2 polearms. Yeah, this polearm, 208 battles, 224 kills, more than 1. He was a huge polearm that I think I got on day 2. But I lost him. The Eagleites really liked to hit on my backliners with their low melee defense and Nimble. And both of my backliners got killed in this fight. But yeah, that's part of the game. You replace them, and it's also then after this fight, you can start replacing your Nimble brothers with Battlefrost brothers to prepare for the big undead fights. Because as I said earlier, Nimble brothers just aren't that robust as Battleforged brothers. So the Kraken fight potentially will lose you a couple of bros. Make sure you keep the aggressive period of the tentacles as short as possible. So usually the first period where you are just detentacling, it actually isn't that hard. You don't need to whip your brothers a lot to make sure that they are able to detentacle. The two bros that you will continuously whip are the ones that have the IG Rock armor, so you try and spread them around, these two brothers. So you can whip them because they will regrow their health. You don't want to whip all the others too much. You can just, with your overseers, help in detentacling, and because you have so many brothers and so many options to detentacle after 2 or 3 or 4 attempts, every time it gets 10% more. You don't really need to whip your brothers and keep them as healthy as possible for when the tentacles start hitting you. So after the Kraken, you go into the Watermill. It's not a difficult fight, but if you're careless, you can still lose a brother here and there. And after that are the Goblin City, the Sunken Library, and the Black Monolith. That are fights that become a lot easier if you have this amazing weapon, probably the best weapon in the game. Together with the Diviner, they are just overpowered weapons. I didn't build a really good guy. I think it's better to have a Battleforged duelist to wield this weapon, but that's all I could get. Okay. So the Goblin City, Sunken Library. Sunken Library is a completely useless fight because you are not going to be able to read the Black Book. So it's a completely useless fight. You keep it as long as possible to the end. And at the end you go into the Black Monolith and hopefully do better than me in this campaign, because either my strategy was not good enough, my team was not good enough, but I got slaughtered twice. So I'm not sure. I probably will take another shot at this and try and find a seat with more Battleforged armor that's already in the seat, and try and find and build more Battleforged brothers to take on the Black Monolith. But I think that's it. That's everything I wanted to say. I think I've covered just about completely everything I wanted to say about this challenge. I think with the Manhunter challenge, it's really enjoyable. You're just really taking on difficult fights. You're losing men. You're playing real brothers. Just you're not doing any contracts. You're not buying and selling any stuff. But you can live off the land. You can live off caravans and enjoy your retinue members. So that's it for today, bros. Hope you take this challenge on. Let me know how you fared, and yeah, enjoy the game. Have a great day. Bye bye.